The return on total assets is another measure of profitability. Just like other financial ratios, the formula is apparent from its name. If you recall, in part 6, I told you that in the context of financial ratios, the term return means net income or net profit. So return on total assets is net profit divided by the average total assets. However, many analysts prefer to use the income before interest expense and income tax as the numerator instead of the net profit. I will elaborate on that later on. If you want to understand the use of averages in some financial ratios, like in this one, please watch part 2 of this video series because that is something very important. So you won't have to exert much effort memorizing certain formulas. Understanding, not memorizing, is the way to succeed in accounting. Anyway, return on total assets measures the overall efficiency of management in generating profit with its available assets. It indicates how much profit is generated for each dollar or peso amount of assets. Just like in profit margin on sales or return on sales, which was discussed in part 6, in the case of corporations with preference shares or preferred stock, instead of the net profit after deducting the income tax, the numerator is the earnings available for ordinary or common shareholders, which is actually the net profit after deducting the preference share dividends. I've seen a textbook using total assets as denominator, but then I must insist on the use of average as the better choice, if it can be computed anyway. This ratio is commonly called ROA or return on assets. It is likewise known as return on investment. For Elizabeth Store, the net profit during the year amounts to 1,620,000. Its beginning balance of total assets plus the ending balance divided by 2 gives us its average total assets. The entity's return on total assets, therefore, is 8.55% or 0.0855:1. Going back to what I mentioned a few minutes ago, instead of the net profit, some analysts use the profit before interest expense and income tax as the numerator in computing for the return on total assets. Interest expense is added back because what should be determined is how profitably the entity uses its assets, regardless of how the acquisitions of those assets were financed, whether through borrowings from creditors or through investments by the owner. Take note that interest expense comes from liabilities, mainly long-term debt. Therefore, not adding back the interest expense to the net profit, which means letting the deduction from the profit to remain, is tantamount to considering the interest expense and consequently the liabilities from which the interest comes from, when in fact, the idea or goal must be not to take into account the source of the financing of the assets, whether through liabilities extended by creditors or through the equity from the owner. To take into account the interest expense and the source of financing does not seem to be fair to management, whose efficiency in the use of the assets we want to measure through this return on total assets ratio. If the entity has no debt, no interest expense will be charged and profit will be higher but the absence or presence of interest expense does not affect the operating efficiency of management. Hence, adding back the interest expense to the net profit seems to be a very logical thing to do. Moreover, income tax is also added back to the net profit because it is non-controllable by management. Although it is true that management can somehow reduce taxes through some tax-saving measures, not much can really be done to change the bulk of taxes. Another reason why income tax is added back in the numerator of the return on assets formula is that income tax is affected by the entity's financing source. Note that interest expense, which are paid to creditors, is tax deductible, while dividends, which are given to owners, are not tax deductible. Hence, higher profit and consequently higher income tax will be the result if the entity finances its asset acquisitions through investment by the owners or through the issuance of shares of stocks, as compared with profit and income tax when financing comes from long-term creditors. Now, using the profit before interest expense and income tax instead of the net profit as the numerator, what is the return on total assets of Elizabeth Tailoring Materials Store? $1,770,000 profit before interest and income tax, which we had already computed before using even two methods for use in some other ratios, divided by the average total assets equals 9.34% or 0.0934:1. The higher this ratio, the more efficient management is in generating profit with the entity's available assets.